As technology and data and I guess the internet, AI, things like that have progressed, even since when I first started, it's refreshing, but I also am curious in your thoughts to see just human-based information sourcing like this. Because, I mean, when I first started, you were looking up reverse 411 and NACRIS and deeds and mortgages, which we still do, obviously, but with Reonomy and Actovia and all these systems now, it's been much easier to find data on property and property owners. But I feel like there's still a gap missing in a lot of that information. And a wise man once told me, aka you, that we're primarily in the information business, not the real estate business. And so what is this information that you've gathered? What is the purpose of it?
Okay, well, happy to go into that. And Rich, I agree with you 100%. I used to say that the real estate business is not the real estate business, it's the information business. I've modified that slightly to say it's the information and relationship business. But absolutely, and this whole concept of the map room is nothing new. There's a picture on the wall over there, me 1992, with a bunch of maps behind me. So it's always been part of our practice. These Sanborn maps actually speak to me more than pictures do. And the genesis of the map was frustration. Frustration with getting information about the development pipeline in New York. And as you know, a big part of my practice is selling land. In order to value land properly, you need to know what's being built that's going to compete with the thing that's going to be built on the site you're selling. And there was some pretty decent data sets available for condo construction, but not much for rentals or hotels or offices, education, healthcare. And I said to myself, well, how could this be? Like you look at the big residential firms produce reports. One will say there's 9,000 units in the pipeline. One says there's 6,000 in the pipeline. Which is it? If you stand in front of a site, the building's either under construction or it's not. So for about 10 years, I wanted to get out and actually do a physical count. The pandemic was the perfect opportunity to do that. Nobody was in town. Stores were closed. Nobody was driving. Nobody was walking. The streets were completely empty. And I thought to myself, you know what? If I'm ever going to do it, this is a perfect time to do it. Had the guys at the office make copies of the tax map, took it out into the field, walked around, walked every block of Manhattan from East 96, West 110, down to the financial district, and highlighted everything with regard to stuff that was under construction or demolished or potential sites or potential assemblages. That took about 220 hours in the field, followed up with about 3,000 hours of research to look into each of these sites. We've now cataloged everything. There are corresponding 3-ring binders that pertain to each section of this map. And so we have the development pipeline disaggregated into 5 buckets: residential rentals, resi condos, hotels, offices, and the miscellaneous bucket. And we're also going to shortly be coming out with the NACA Land Index, which is going to take comparable sales and divide them into the same 5 buckets. And we have that data going all the way back to 1984. Over the past 3 years, we've studied 2,417 development site transactions in this part of Manhattan. And we're actually, you talk about technology and everything, this is about as analog as it gets. But on the other end of the spectrum, we are applying an AI application to it. I've hired a couple of data scientists that I've been working with for about 9 months. And we're creating an AI program to take a look at the fluctuations in land value in each of those 5 buckets. And we are going to compare those fluctuations to metrics for that specific type of property, but then also look at macroeconomic factors: interest rates, inflation, lending rates, price of gold, price of oil, consumer sentiment, S&P 500, Dow Jones Industrial, and try to determine what factor or combinations of factors are predictive in terms of when land values are going to go up or down. So a combination of extraordinarily old school and extraordinarily new school, and it's really exciting. I've always been one that was very slow to adopt technology. I had the flip phone long after everybody still was, on the iPhone, but I'm trying to get a little bit ahead on the AI front, because I think, if you look at the world from 40,000 feet, when I started at my desk in 1984, I had no computer, no fax machine, no cell phone. And over the past 40 years, the world has changed so dramatically, but I think the extent to which the world is going to change over the next 5 years because of AI is going to far surpass the change that we've seen over the last 40.